afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Friday, November 1, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a reverse aging health call tonight, and all the rest a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. Many of us through, well, let's just take this lifetime, or through the course of many lifetimes, we seem to get pulled into this feeling of falling off the path. And when the frail, egoic human persona takes over, we tend to get wrapped up in identifying ourselves as small, limited, powerless, time-bound beings who are temporarily imprisoned in a physical human form. The human experience can hypnotize us into believing that we are lost, poor, insecure, unhappy, or simply off track. Positive news is that the truth is always much bigger than the mind can fathom. And whenever we perceive this life that we're in to be some random, challenging, confusing experience, you might want to take an afternoon to digest your different steps that you can take to open up the inner avenues of connection so you reestablish a heartfelt relationship with your spiritual essence and soon discover the all-powerful, magical, manifesting being you are again. We're transitioning, say. At one time, we all knew who and what we were. Long time ago. We somehow lost memory. Now we know now how that has happened, how it happens, how it continues to happen. Where we come in to a life form, let's say a baby body, while in God form, you, the God, coming in, you want to call it the soul, the spirit, the higher self, whatever, pure consciousness. So you're coming into that baby body. Now, you have full memory until you are electrified, jolted, so to speak. And it's a unnatural memory wipe. So when you enter the baby body, you will have some recollection. Okay? Because when you enter the baby body, you don't know at that point that you actually had left the past life. See what I mean? So you do have residual. You remember certain things. And it's kind of interesting because to you, it's like you just left that past life. Right? That's what it seems like. And when you are out of physical material body and you're in your true form of pure consciousness, pure love, light, energy, and you don't know who and what you are, gets a little hairy. So there's no time. Time does not exist. Some of us call it the other side. But it's actually, you leave, in a way, you leave the matrix. Now, the matrix has 7 layers. So when let's say that you discover that you've left the first layer. You say, well, I'm free. But then you hit the second layer. And you realize, I am not free yet. So you go through these 7 layers. And then you're out. How many have gone through those 7 layers? You can count them on one hand over the last several million years. So it's pretty nifty, isn't it? You can keep us gods in amnesia. So that we spend, now, you think about this, you have like an 80, 90-year lifespan, roughly. And then you leave the body again. So without recollection or referencing, how the heck are we going to transcend and evolve in deep spiritual awareness? How? Through discovery, say. Through curiosity. That's why you hear me talk a lot about childhood, childlike curiosity, which we all have, which is fully intact. But see, the society, the human psyche, which is the society of the planet, dictates to us that you can't be that way. You're a full-grown adult. You can't have childlike curiosity. See what I mean? You're too old, and you can't go swing on that swing. What's wrong with you? You can't jump over that fence. You're too old to do that. You should know better than that. You see what I mean? See how it... And majority of us follow that. Okay? So we focus on it, we follow it, and we do it. How many of us know who and what we are? Now, see, you can't circumvent the steps, and many have tried, and it ends up nowhere. So you realize that when you leave the body, there is no time. Okay? There isn't. It doesn't exist. That's why when you leave the body, and say time here, say somebody, a loved one passes, leaves the body, right? Now to them, after they leave the body, and let's say they come in, they incarnate, right, into another life, another body. But see, to them, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years is nothing. It's a drop in a bucket. To you, it's real time. 30 years have gone by. That's why you may have heard explanations, stories, where you had a couple, male, female. They promised each other that they would come back, right? And they would give each other a signal because you wouldn't recognize them because they'd be in different lives, in different bodies. But they promised each other that, when I say this, you'll know that it's me. Vice versa. Funny thing is, it happens most of the time, not all the time, is that one of them comes in, right, and starts a new life, a new body, new surroundings for quite some time. The other one doesn't come in until later. So by the time the other one comes in, and the one that said, let's say the guy said, I'll give you a signal, right? So the guy's a lot older. He's like in his 70s now. And she comes in, and she's like in her 20s. Now she has an awareness that she's got to find him. She doesn't know what age he's at because they thought they would both come in together. Very rarely does that happen. Sooner or later, it's an inevitability that she somehow she connects with him. And he recognizes, and he says, he remembers what he told her in the past life, and he says it to her, and she automatically knows that it's him. Period. So now what do? She's in a 20-something-year-old body, and he's in a 70-something-year-old body. Do you think or believe that it's like, okay, that's over and they go separate ways? No. They connect, and they stay with each other. It isn't the body, see? It's the love, period. It has nothing to do with the physical. Really doesn't. And this happens. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens. And we're all wandering around here on this planet. Not all of us, but a lot of us are trying. We're looking at about the things that we don't have answers for, and why we're in the life that we're in. Am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Have I messed up my life? Is it really worth it? Maybe I should just check out. So there is a doorway that we need to open. Choice. And the doorway is meeting your sacred soul. And it starts with feeling into your basic core nature. Who are you at the very innermost core level? Well, you're the God. You're the kingdom of God. You're the heaven. You're the source creator. And, I wonder, maybe you do too, why is it so difficult for us to really embrace and comprehend that every one of us are a super powerful divine being? Super powerful. And most of us don't explore that. Exploring this exposes you to become the highest authority of your reality and your life, where you decide what is real and what is not. You are the one who is constantly seeing, believing, and perceiving the reality you think is true. Now, the mind is always right about what it believes is real. It's never wrong about what direction it's thinking and believing. Even if you fall off the deep end and you believe that 8 plus 8 is 100, the mind will be very righteous about that. And there are people like this. And the mind is all coiled up in an old habit of making up fantastic stories about who and what you are and are not. And when this mind drops, you drop into your core basic nature. Mindless, still, and free from all thought. Now, the mind will still do whatever it can. It will try to say that you are not enough, Jim, Mary, and too much of this or too much of that. That's what it'll say to you. But here's the point. We It's a choice, of course. Do not listen to the mind. Don't listen to it. It's a tricky character. Just don't listen to the mind. Listen to your heart instead. There is an unlimited field of loving, spectacular energy in your heart, which is the doorway to having a full body, deeply healing, spiritual awakening experience. In the space-time continuum, who and what you are, your soul, is found there. Where would the soul reside if it was simply resting and relaxing at the center of you? Where specifically and exactly is the core of you? And when you look within yourself, where in space and time is the very center of this thing called you? When you find it, rest for many hours in that space. You discover that you are pure, powerful, perfect, complete consciousness. You are the source of divine perfection. Now you imagine when more and more of us discover this. The more we can relax into our center, the easier it becomes to realize there never, ever, ever, ever was anything wrong with you. You see how you see how the mind does it? Most people on this planet think something's wrong with them. Some way, shape, or form, that something's wrong with them. Maybe you've come across people that, have you ever come across people that you know them, right? And they're down on themselves and I don't like this, and this and that. And you're saying, no, you're fine. You're fine. Everything, you're fine. What are you all stressed out about? You look great. You're fine. Boom. Right? No, I'm not. And you spend a lot of energy doing what you can to let them know that they're perfect. Takes a lot of energy, doesn't it? And the word relax, most of us won't relax. You know why? Well, because of the ego mind, and we've always got to be coming and going, don't we? This rushing and hurrying and coming and going. And then when we just kick back, we feel guilty. Isn't that crazy? So the more we can relax into our center, the easier it becomes to realize there never ever was anything wrong with you. That was just a big fancy show of the mind, fabricating new stories again. Your soul, this is an absolute. Your soul is beyond the mind. It is the ever-present, eternal witness at the core essence of you, and is always there, always available, and ready to be explored. This is the inner journey everyone is seeking. It's the one that can take lifetimes to discover. And until we find it, we cannot know deep, everlasting peace. Do not worry. It is predestined that you will find your soul. All of us will. And this spiritual stream of sacredness follows us wherever we go. When we can really relax deep down into the core of our being, the eyes of the soul begin seeing through us. We can perceive this universal spiritual path within the mundane and comprehend how it's truly impossible to screw this life up. And when we relax, we begin to truly trust this life. When you're not relaxed, you really believe that you're trusting life? That's a sure sign that tells you you're not. But when we relax, I mean truly relax, like in this meditation, we find a comfortable place for ourselves, uninterrupted from outside distractions. We become as still as a statue. We relax into the body. We let go of everything. And we focus on the breath rising and falling, and the space between heartbeats. That's how you relax the body. One time we were in a Reiki session. Some of you know what that is. And we wanted to know what it was like to have one of us lie on the table and everybody Reiki them, the parts of the body. That's nirvana. You disconnect from the body. It is absolutely off the charts. And each of us experience that. Absolutely. It reinforces the fact on how wonderful this life is. You know, when we truly trust this life, we can feel like we have an infinite amount of time, energy, resources, creativity, and knowledge to get it right. Only in a very deep relaxation can we surrender enough to bathe in our soul's true eternal essence. The ego and mind are set on the back burner. And there is no second guessing about if we have arrived in the parking lot of our soul or not. It's so obvious, it's like the difference between knowing the sun is shining and it is not. There's only this pure feeling of knowing and getting that we are all unlimited, unbounded, perfect beings, connected in each moment to an infinite stream of conscious, intelligent energy. It's a mouthful, isn't it? The soul makes us wake up and realize that we can do the impossible. Its energy is so powerful, eternal, and cannot be changed. The more we relax into this understanding, the more we stop fighting with our mind and its list of unfulfilled desires. We simply give up following our thoughts blindly around and begin relaxing beneath them into the quiet solitude underneath the mind, which makes everything in this life more interesting and less challenging than it needs to be. Now, challenges, we enjoy challenge, but we go way overboard on creating challenges that are just not necessary. It's kind of like you walk around with this cloak around you. You're all covered up, right? And then you realize that you choose to unveil your spiritual amazingness. And that is in the practice of a thing called trust. See, and this probably, a lot of people go, how is that? This universe is always protecting you, helping you, and serving your highest good. It has never abandoned you and never will. And is always here assisting you to blaze through your challenges and find your greatest possible joy in this life. Now, when you choose to trust in this process, everything changes in your perception and reality. This universe is conspiring in your favor. It wants what you want. So it's like, be a pronoiac and not a paranoiac. Just notice when it feels, what it feels like to sit back and relax into the feeling of trusting in this universe and knowing it is guiding you. When we practice the trust vibe, we can listen easily to the subtle hints from this universe. We know our life purpose and spiritual direction, and we stop ignoring it. The trusting signs are there. Just look for them. Take heed. And stop getting in the way of your highest possibility, which most of us do anyway. We don't do it on purpose. We do. We block ourselves. You know, the ego mind, you start rationalizing, you start configuring and coming up with all kinds of stuff. For it is in trusting, it's trusting this universe that we can give ourselves permission to manifest the most amazing, miraculous life we could ever imagine. Doesn't it make sense? Really? Doesn't it? Why would we come to a planet, and most of us, okay, I don't have, you known anybody that's had a cakewalk through life? Maybe it appears that way on the surface until you start talking with them and you start realizing that to them, they haven't had a cakewalk. It makes sense for us to have the most amazing, miraculous life we could ever imagine, doesn't it? We actually get what we truly want through trusting. How many people trust themselves, let alone anybody else today? It's rampant. Nobody trusts anybody. Everybody's out to get somebody. Everybody's out to screw you. Everything's rotten. Everything's bad. Right? What a mess that is. So what we do is some of us, we actually get what we truly want through trusting, and we stop settling for a fear-based, rushed lifestyle that we do not really desire. You know what? That's the majority of us. And to the extent we're so connected to it, we get irritated when someone calls our attention to it. Isn't that amazing? I invite you right now to take time to settle yourself into the energy of trust right now. Breathe it into your body. Feel it inside your heart. Practice this one all day long, all night long. Notice how good this feels. See if you can notice how many ways this universe is guiding, assisting, and protecting you in the next 48 hours. It is an amazing feeling when you can remain in the state of trust all week long, as it is this energy which opens the door to let your soul's full presence to come flying through. Now, fearful people, you honestly believe that they're going to discover their soul? The only way we do that is from recognizing and letting go of our fears. So you choose to take the time, like say when you're in the grocery line or wherever you may be, to find out what you're truly afraid of in this life. Everybody's afraid of something. It's amazing. So some of us choose to look deep inside and face whatever old dark demons are inside us. They are just you hiding from your own soul. And your fears are not meant to haunt you and stay with you forever. This is not their purpose. If you are not facing your fears every day, then they are not fully serving you. You're meant to work with fear, push up against it, so that you expand your sense of self and grow beyond it. Release your attachments to what the fear means. Realize each one is merely a ridiculous, misguided thought. It's what it is. Give yourself fully over to being a fearless human being. And by facing every fear that arises, you get to know your true warrior self as an all-loving, all-powerful, fearless, multidimensional spiritual being with unlimited potentiality. Who knew the darkness would lead us to the light? And with just a little exploration, and our daily journey home becomes a very sacred healing process. And, you know, L. Ron Hubbard, some of you know him, he was a researcher on the human brain. He never wanted a religion to come out of it, but it did, which is known as Scientology. He had childlike curiosity, so he was looking at the brain, the human brain, and how things happened and how it worked. One of his quotes, "Only you can say where the road goes." Only you can say where the road goes. Everyone sets their goals for the hour, for the relationship, and for every phase of life. We've got to retrain our brains, okay? All of us. And that's a choice for each of us to make or not make. Retraining our brain to be alert and remain focused only on that which you truly desire. Like, what do you want in this life? What you want wants you to have it. And when you keep your mind focusing on what you want and off what you don't want, the most amazing things will manifest in your presence. Nobody wants to hear what's on your long list of complaints. Put your kingdom of don't wants up for sale and recalibrate your mind to meditate on what you do desire. What are those things that make your heart sing? It's not complicated, really. The simple refocusing of the mind on what you want in this life is incredibly powerful and transformative. Once the mind comes around to the conclusion that as long as it's focusing on what it doesn't want, it's never going to be happy, then it starts to rely more on pure awareness to liberate it. The mind is already deeply trained and programmed to rewind and replay the same 60,000 thoughts it had yesterday. It doesn't live, it doesn't like to deviate from the norm. Yet when you redirect it to remain focused on what you want to think about all day long, your soul peeks through and opens everything up like a flower meeting the first morning rays of sunshine. You come to feel the amazing warmth that's inside your being. This is the day you truly know your soul intimately. And it will show everyone in the most natural, unassuming ways the all-powerful, deeply eternal, loving being you already are. Do not waste your life for that which is going to be taken away. Trust life. Trust God. When you trust, only then can you drop your knowledge. Only then can you put your mind aside, and with trust, something immense opens up. And this life is no longer an ordinary life. It becomes full of God, overflowing Osho. I join you in meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on the breath rising and falling in the space between heartbeats. Stop paying attention to this endless chatter from your mind. There's an endless accumulation of subconscious goodies resurfacing from your basement. Constantly listening to it is just creating unnecessary suffering. Look deeper behind this obsessive thinking machine and rest deeply into the great silent master behind it all. Inside your heart is an infinite wellspring of healing presence, waiting only for you. Trust in this presence, because your trust will bring you so much more inner peace. Only when our deepest silence, only within our deepest silence, can we feel our real connection with divinity. It just takes a smidgen of courage and a dollop of rebelliousness to stop the runaway train of the mind. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here November 2, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And tonight, at a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern, our reverse aging health call and all the rest. We've got some interesting things to share. Very. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on out there or within you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.